Good morning, everyone. This is Cassie Stumo. I am the marketing specialist here at EAC. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We will start off today with an intro of EAC, and then our technical account manager, Kurt Peterson, will show everyone easier ways to find things within Windchill. Everyone gets a recording after the webinar, pending any technical difficulties. There will be a short survey that appears once the webinar is over, so hang tight once we're done and drop questions in the queue along the way, and we'll answer them after the presentation. So first off, I'll tell you a little bit about who we are. At EAC, our mission is to transform the way companies design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. And we're more than just a value-added reseller for PTC. We've partnered with them for over 20 years with experts in 22 areas of product development. We're located all over the US with our headquarters in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We offer our customers everything they need for product development, from CAD and simulation software for the full product design process, software for managing service documentation, and software for managing product data. We assist with design and engineering projects and offer webinars and PTC certified training courses for continuous learning. We also implement the industrial Internet of Things and augmented reality into business strategies to jumpstart initiatives around digital transformation and connecting all things in your company. We also offer our customers Formlabs desktop SLA 3D printers, including the Form 3 for engineering parts and prototypes, the Form 3B for biocompatible dental materials, and the Form 3L for larger SLA prints. So we try to make sure you remember that EAC is the company you need to partner with to get all of the technology you need at the forefront to make your team successful. I'll go ahead and hand things over to Kurt so he can get started.
All right, thanks, Cassie. Appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kurt Pearson. I am EAC's IoT Technical Account Manager, specializing in the ThingWorx IoT platform and also the augmented reality products that PTC offers. What we're going to be talking about today really fits into, the current times that we find ourselves in. So, there are a lot of specific challenges here in this day and age of COVID-19 pandemics. And EAC has been, developing and working with the tools to enable remote workforces literally since we've been founded. We've been a remote company for a long time, and what we're going to talk about today just ties into that piece exactly, right? So we're going to talk today about managing your enterprise data. How do you get information into the right hands? And I just wanted to put in a note, there is a lot of solutions that we can speak to on a broad set of challenges that are very top of mind in today's current environment. So go ahead and check out our website, and we can discuss more about different ones. What we're going to talk today about specifically, though, is really about connecting the manufacturing environment and manufacturing information needs to the engineering data that's produced and stored and managed within Windchill environment. So this is a gap that is challenging for a lot of manufacturers, especially those who are dealing with more and more complex products, more and more competitive landscapes that shorten lead times. There's lots of different challenges that come from this disconnect that we see across the business, right? So basically what we're looking at for a lot of manufacturers, what they face in today's environment is that engineering kind of sits at the center of the information chain that is being pulled in a lot of different directions. On one end, the engineering team usually owns the management piece for all of the engineering data, and they've got to find an efficient way to transfer that to a host of other teams, right? Purchasing, quality, manufacturing, vendors, all of these different people need the information that's being stored in Windchill, and that can be a big burden on engineering. So if engineering doesn't have a good tool set to use for that, right, the information chain can break. It means things aren't updated. It means that things have to be reworked. It means that problems aren't caught. It means that customers are dissatisfied. Basically, the entire engineering process, the entire design process is hampered if you don't have a seamless tool set that connects the information from engineering produces, down to production and down to other players within the shop floor. So how do we tether that information chain? How do we make sure that nothing gets lost within that? So the tool set we're going to be looking at today is ThingWorx Navigate, and specifically, additionally, what EAC has developed on top of that Navigate skeleton in order to tether that information chain, in order to make sure that nothing gets lost. Basically, this solution is based on the ThingWorx IoT platform, reaching into Windchill and manipulating Windchill data. So everything that we're going to look at today is based on the information that is housed and stored in Windchill, and we think that's a great thing. What we don't think is a great thing is how easily accessible that information is sometimes. Maybe you only have 2 or 3 people who are real Windchill admin level, technicians, and the rest of us have to use Windchill, but we don't necessarily know all the clicks, all the places, right? Windchill is a very feature-rich tool, but that means that it also is very complex. So this is a tool that we can use to get around that. What are some of the simple use cases that we're going to talk about, right? So Navigate reaches into Windchill and can be used to view parts, to look at associated documents, to look at part structures, right? So this is a way to eliminate paper on the shop floor and still get all the up-to-date information straight out of Windchill, focused on a computer terminal. Those are kind of some of the basic ones. And EAC as a company has looked at that and said, okay, that's great. What else can we do with that? So I'm going to talk about a little bit about a customer of ours that has started using EAC apps, and they came to us with a problem. They have redlining issues. So basically, the engineers had 5% of their time they were taking maintaining the print packages, and the machining guys said 8% of their time was spent redlining and making adjustments and annotations. And basically they would go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth doing these redlining changes. Inevitably something would get lost in the process. So they would have a red line, it gets missed, which means the wrong part is shipped, which means the customer is unhappy. So this was a lot of time. It was a very manual process. It was paper heavy. It was very cumbersome for them. How they used EAC apps to take that redlining process and move it into an electronic closed loop format, right? Using EAC apps as the front end of that, they were able to see, and they're realizing right now, $1.4 million a year savings in labor, just purely in the labor and time saved between that process. If you boil it down and you use these tools, that's a huge cost savings. They also saw a huge increase in accuracy. So no longer was a paper copy getting left on somebody's desk and that being lost, right, and not included in the final design. So they were able to increase their throughput, they were able to save a bunch of time, they were able to increase their accuracy by using the tools that we're going to talk about today. So the tools that we're going to talk about today is EAC Productivity Apps. So as I mentioned before, these are internal apps that we have developed internally that build on the structure of Navigate. PTC built Navigate to do some of those simple, reaching in, viewing drawings activities that we talk about. And so what we decided, we came to a couple of customers and talked to them and said, okay, this is great, but what else can we do? They came and asked us, can you do this with it? This is nice, but I want to do this. So EAC Productivity Apps is our internally developed product that is building on the promise of Navigate. And with that, that's kind of what I had from an introduction standpoint. And I think we can go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I want to show is just the base Navigate app. So this is, again, a mobile-based, browser-based application that you can use to look into Windchill files. So if I wanted to just say, take a look at a part, for example, I can select a part, I can open this in Creo View. If I wanted to spin it around, I can look at a bunch of different things, right? I can see design files that are associated with it. I can take a look at the different parts, right? And drawings, so exploded views. So this is a nice and quick, easy way, right? It's searchable. It's much more intuitive and easy to look at than Windchill is per se, right? So that's kind of Windchill Navigate and how it's built, right? It's got a couple of prepackaged apps that are focused around very general application structures. So that's nice. Those are great. Within Navigate is the ability to customize an app. So that is what we have done. We have customized an app so much, in fact, that we're into our own product category. So I'm going to step through most of these apps, but I want you to focus on a couple of different kind of key messages that our apps deliver through this, right? So basically, why use PTC Navigate and why use EAC apps when you have Windchill out in front of you? And the things that I want you to focus on is kind of three different parts. Number one, I want you to focus on the ease and searchability of these apps, right? How quickly and easily, with the fewest clicks possible, can you find information? I also want you to focus on the tailorability of it. So the ability for you to customize per role what people are going to see and how easily they can ingest that is a key differentiation. And the third part I want to focus on is the power of using Windchill processes without digging into Windchill. So not everybody is going to need to know to use Windchill to a very minute level, but I would make the argument that many people need to use Windchill information. This is the tool for those people, for the people not involved in Windchill on a day-to-day basis, but still need to get to that information. So let's take a look at our landing page. The quick search app. This is the first app that was produced. So you can see that I'm going to navigate just quite simply to look at some search terms, and I'm going to search for a product. Not using a wildcard. I'm not doing anything but just, I think this is the start of the part number, and I'm going to select that. So the story of how this app came into view is we were working with a customer that says, okay, cool. I'm using Navigate. This is very neat. This is very cool, but I want to see two drawings when I look at it. So I want to search one partner and I want to see two drawings because I've got an internally released drawing and a drawing for my customers. Can you do that? And we said, well, okay, I think we can do that. So they wanted to not only select a single drawing, but they also wanted to look at some internally versus externally released. So we built an app that can do that, right? So I selected a couple of different items. I can look not only at the assembly part, but I can also look at two different versions of the drawings. So that's pretty neat. They said, okay, well, what about documents, right? What if I wanted to see a Word doc associated with that or a PDF assigned to that? And I said, yes, absolutely. So a couple of cool things that you can do from this screen. Everything that you see here is tailored by a role. So I'm coming in here as an admin. So I can see a lot of the things, but if you wanted to say, lock out some different options, so only parts were searchable, or only documents that pertain to a certain attribute, right? That ability is within your power. So if you wanted to give, a login to say a vendor and have them only see a certain part of your bill of materials or a certain part of something, this could be their portal, right? And you know that they will only see what the views that you want them to see. From this view, not only can I page through different drawings specifically, but I can also download directly from this. You can see that this is going to open up right there. So again, very easy, very quickly get drawings, search for drawings, and then move on from that. So the step up from Windchill is the ability to quickly access multiple documents, all associated with a single term, and the ability to search for it and put it in front of you very quickly. So that's kind of the genesis of things. That's how Quick Start really started. Skipping over for a little bit, let's take a look at BoM Reports. So again, taking a look at the accessibility and ease of searching without even knowing a part number. If I just know, a specific piece of, the assembly, right? Not necessarily anything to it, right? I was like, okay, yeah, the valve is exhaust. I can pull that up without any other questions. So that can be quite powerful, especially for people who are new to the role. Work turnover is a big deal in modern manufacturing. So making things quickly searchable and easy, right? We're kind of Googleizing this, right? You don't need to know your way around a Dewey Decimal System to do this. You can just plug it in and go for it. So let's take a look at what I'm looking at now, right? So I've got a fairly simple bill of materials, and then I've got this little pie chart down at the bottom. The pie chart is actually looking at which pieces of this bill of material are in work, canceled, or released. And what this gives me the ability to do is I can click on the pie chart and it will filter by the associated pieces. So right now I'm filtering by in work and released. I'm just taking a look at those. I can reset that, look at the whole bill of materials again. Again, the step up from Windchill, pardon me, the step up from Windchill is that these are easily searchable in one place, and you can graphically look and just see very quickly and easily exactly how far along you are in this bill of materials release, right? Okay, got some in work, I've got some released, I've got some canceled. Okay, we're good. I can also search by a number of other attributes, really any attribute you want. So this is configurable, this is tailorable. You can do a lot with this. So if I didn't want to sort by state, I could sort by cost. So all of these pieces in this demo, the costing is the same, so it doesn't really matter. But if I wanted to see, what percentage of my bill of material is large capital versus small capital, or if I wanted to see the number of components in a subassembly, right? If I wanted to see what percentage of the bill of materials comes from a specific vendor, I could sort by that and very easily click and see exactly what I'm looking at. Another feature of this one I want to draw attention to is cost of bill of material too. So this is looking at the stored attribute within Windchill. What is the cost? And again, if I click and filter, you can see that it automatically adjusts. So again, and there's just another way to very easily and quickly see how the bill of material is set up, how it's affected, and then be able to get very granular very quickly into what is composed of it. So that's pretty cool. It's a huge step up from Windchill because of the amount of data that you can get and how quickly you can get it. We take a look at part associations next, right? This is a lot of the same functionality that we're talking about. This is kind of neat because, again, let's take a look at the Google ability. So I'm just going to type in, EAC. That doesn't mean anything to Windchill, but if I enable searching by a soft attribute as part of it, so again, you could do vendors or you could do any number of things, right? We just tagged a soft attribute with these parts. Now I'm given, again, a set view, whatever I want. It's basically an easy way for you to, once those part associations are defined, to implement that view so that you've given the tool to your operators as they need it. These tools are, again, very similar to what we saw on the quick search. I can download them. I can access different parts and drawings. All of that's in front of me. It's very easy. It's very searchable. It's very nice, right? This is a specific app built for that specific function. So those three kind of show, again, the three main components that we want to talk about: searchability, visibility, and role-based tailoring. Now I'm going to get into two other apps that really focus on the ability to work in Windchill processes without getting into Windchill. So let's take a look at our quick access app. So this is kind of a second generation. This is a little bit more powerful than the quick search. When I select my system, you can enable to select by end item. So again, if the operator doesn't know part numbers or isn't aware or very familiar with a drawing, if you give them this end item, they can still select the correct one and very quickly get to where they need to be. That's a huge help. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then I've got a couple of different views that I can look at on these screens over here. Number one, I can toggle for a where used. So if we're taking a look at this this assembly drawing, which in this case is, just an engine block, if I'm on the where used section of it, I can then see where does this engine block feed into, right? What's the larger assembly that it goes into? What's cool from here as well is if I double click this item, I can actually open up the piece in Windchill. So again, this is all related to Windchill, and it's pulling information directly from Windchill. So if you need to be the guy who uses this as a front end tool, and you need to do some detailed work within Windchill, you can do that. So that makes it very powerful, because what you want to do is use Navigate and use EAC apps where the clicks are easy. And then if you require some additional functionality, you can always just open it up in Windchill and go ahead and do it there. So if I needed to look at this assembly, if I need to do anything in Windchill, I can just double click on it and open it up there. But maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe I don't need to do that very often. So if you're selecting in the structure as opposed to the where used, now you get a very granular view of all the different assemblies inside this assembly. So now we can take a look at all the different components within this and quickly and easily see where they're at. Over here, again, I've got the ability to download this drawing, to open it up. I can create markups. I can do a lot just from this view. If you've got different drawings associated with one assembly, that's an easy way to take a look at it. Over here, what we're seeing here is this additional information is a custom widget opportunity. So right now we've got it set to costing. And what this is representing is that because this is built on an IoT backbone, we can converse with ERP systems. So if you needed to do costing, analysis on different projects, you can we have the hooks built into this app to reach out to an ERP and get costing information from that specifically. We've got different ones put in for demo purposes for different items, and you can see those reflected there. So that's pretty powerful, and that's pretty nice. Couple of other deals that we want to talk about. All of these tabs that you see down here. So if I go back to our main assembly, all of the attributes here that we see are similar to what you've seen other places, right? So related documents, that's just the attached associated documents with this. But now we're getting some more interesting pieces. So problem reports, change requests, change notices. This is going back to the case study I referenced earlier in the presentation, where the customer changed over from going from paper redlining to doing it all within EAC apps. So basically what the workflow is, as the engineer is looking at subassembly or a bill of materials within this view, they can actually go in and see all of the problem reports that are associated with this part in real time, right? All the change requests that are associated, all the change notices. Again, you might have noticed there's a theme of tailorability and configuration, right? So whatever your process needs, we can fit EAC apps to match that, whatever you want to call it. ECR is, most acceptable. But so the other powerful thing that you can do within this tool is actually trigger Windchill workflows from this screen. So I just clicked new problem report. So I'm going to define something. This is a custom problem report. I'm just going to say, we need to top off the blinker fluid for this part assembly, right? Requester is myself, and then I have some categorizations I can follow from it. Again, all customizable to exactly your coding, whatever you need. I'm going to call it hi. The description is going to be, someone didn't fill up the blinker fluid all the way. This is the affected object, part number. Then once I hit submit, it's going to actually create this within Windchill. Again, this is a front end, an easily accessible and usable version of Windchill. So I just created a Windchill object, and I never had to open Windchill. I never had to get in Windchill. I never had to do anything to it. Now, if I stay within this screen, stay on that part number, and I go down, I can see that that problem report that I just selected is there. So that is a very easy way. Again, this is closed loop now, right? So this is not me making a red line on a piece of paper and handing it off and hoping that gets to the engineer. The engineer is now aware, if they're looking at the same problem reports, if they're looking at the task manager app that we're about to go to, they're going to be aware of this, and it's locked in the system, right? So it's a very seamless, very intuitive way to get that change order report across. So that was the quick access app. Again, a very deep look, a very accessible look. Now let's take a look at task management. So task management is going to be on the engineering side of things. So say I am an engineering manager, and I'm looking at a project and trying to organize things and trying to do a little bit of planning. What this app does is this app looks at all the Windchill tasks. So I've got problem reports, I've got change requests, I've got variances, all of these different things. And I can see, for example, again, in our graphical menu, I can see which ones are still up for grabs, and you can see that the filtering is done automatically, and I can see which ones have been accepted and by who. Just like I had ability in the BoM report to change how I'm filtering, I can also change by role, right? So if I wanted to see all of the problem reports open that, person A, engineer A is working on, I can click right there, see that right there. Engineer B, right there. If I want to see the variance author, right, it's all there. So that is extremely easy to filter. Right now, I'm just looking at my tasks and I'm looking at the open ones. As an administrator, though, I can look at the full gamut of all of the tasks. So these are all the tasks that this login has done, that Bart has done. And I can also look at all of the tasks done historically, right? So the cool part about this too is this is powerful from an engineering manager side. If he or she wants to look at the tasks across the team, but you can also tailor this view, again, by user role. So if the user is an engineer, maybe the engineer doesn't get a choice to see my tasks are open. Maybe they just need to see the ones that are open, or maybe they just need to see their tasks as opposed to the open ones. So again, the tailorability and the ability to change this view and this function, how the operator will interface with this Windchill data, the ability to change that to the role and to the exact need of that information is the strength. And that's what makes this simple and usable without it, losing any of its potential power as a solution set. So let's go ahead and so let's find that problem report. So this is the problem report that I just made. And all I need to do in order to take it out of the potential role is hit this accepted selected button. Now I've accepted it as somebody who's going to fix this. And then the process to complete it is just down here. And then I can just hit complete. I'm going to do a refresh. And you can see that that problem report is out of my flow. It's out of my open tasks. You could find it in the non-open tasks anymore, right? So I just changed it from potential to accepted, and then from accepted to closed, right? It was that easy. It was that quick. All of this, if you were taking a look at doing this within Windchill, would be an advanced search at bare minimum, and nowhere would you have the flexibility to do more with it. So this is pretty powerful, I think, especially in tandem with the ability to start Windchill workflows in the quick access app. When you can start the problem reports and change notices, now you can monitor them here, and it's very effective. It's very efficient. So that's very neat. Some other things that I want to see, there's some more searchability options within this this option as well. So I'm just I'm searching for a problem case that I know I'm affecting over here. So wanted to show some other aspects of this app over here. So this is a review that actually affects multiple objects. So if I wanted to get more information on what this task was including, I can hit this task detail button. So what this does is for every task, it's going to break out not only, additional verbiage that can be used, if you're maybe guiding somebody through a new process or you're implementing a new process that needs to be communicated, you can associate that within the Windchill objects and have that work. And then I can also see all of my affected objects here and what they correspond to. So again, this is just a detailed view that allows you to get a little bit more granular into the task than what is allowed within the task manager. You can approve, reject it, you can complete it up, and then move on. So that task details view is pretty neat. Again, developed by request of a customer. So that's most of what I have here. If you notice, there's a fair bit of white space left. The reason for that is because you have, again, some custom ability to add widgets where you want. So when I say a widget, this is a pie chart widget, and that's another widget. So you have the ability to implement your own information, your own graphs, your own additional context you want to lend this problem, if you do so desire. So that's a very, very nice thing, and you see that in more apps than just this one. So okay, so we're half an hour in. We've learned a lot. We're taking in a lot by a fire hose right now. There's 4 more apps that I haven't quite talked about yet. So if I take a look at problem reports, right? So we saw how we started problem reports workflow earlier, and this is really just, again, a more personalized view, a more exact view in the realm of making sure that the correct information is getting to the right people. We're trying to boil and distill the information down to just getting the right information in a completely concise way. So this app looks to do that. So it allows you to set some targets, so you can set the date on when you're going to search for, right? And then if we search between that range, we can again see this graphical representation that again has the quick filter selectability behind it. So I can see, based on the category of the problem report, cost reduction, product improvement, I can quickly filter and see exactly which ones do it. Again, as you've seen it before, this is completely customizable. So if I don't want to search by category, if I want to search by priority, I can see all of the ones that are emergencies. I can see all of the ones that are high, medium, and so forth. So a lot of customizability. I'm going to highlight this area, right? It says your custom mashup here. This out of the box does nothing for you. But if we take a look at the next app, at change request app, we can see that if we select an item, we have something here. So instead of your custom widget here, when I select an item, right, everything else looks the same, right? Change requests versus problem reports, pretty similar, almost identical functionality just for change requests. But here, you've got some additional tailorization. So here is, just a little bit more verbiage, a little bit more detail, help orient the people working on this to see what the affected objects are, what's the name, what is associated with it. So that's what I mean when I say you have some more configurability to this. You can put this widget in there if you want to see those part numbers, right? Just ask us, talk to us through it. Let's see what we can do. If it's easy and simple, we can get it done. So that's kind of the story of EAC apps. The last things that I want to hit as part of this demo is to talk about the tailoring options that you have. So you'll notice that I've got these little edit markers, these little pencils in the corner of every app. As an admin, I have that ability. So if I go ahead and select it, you'll see that every time I've talked about tailoring an app, or every time I've talked about assigning user roles to apps, I can see that options are listed here. So if I wanted to, group people by manufacturing, purchasing, administration, and then change their rights, roles, and views based off of that, I can do that in this screen. So again, if you want to use this app to deliver vendor drawings just to vendors, you have your vendor group and you have specific permissions based off of that, and they cannot access anything else. So that's it's extremely quick, it's extremely locked down, it's a secure way to do it. you've got those tailoring options for each one of the apps. The last part is the overall app tailoring. So if you wanted to make these apps disappear for different user groups, you could do that, right? So for if manufacturing never has to see a change notice, you can cross it out. If a vendor never has to see task management or quick access apps, you can cross it out and eliminate their ability to get to it. So again, it's pretty easy, it's pretty neat. You also have the ability to customize this from, putting in your own logo, so forth. I don't think anybody wants the EAC flag in their face the whole time. So you can customize your logo over here to match what you got to do. So the last couple notes that I want to leave everybody with is talk again how these apps came to be. So these apps really came from customer requests. So customers were using PTC Navigate and they came to EAC and said, hey, this is great, I like this tool, but it really doesn't do what I want it to do. I really want it to do this. So we said, okay, can we help you get there? And the answer was yes. So these apps have grown and continue to grow from customer feedback, right? There is a consistent stream of updates and changes that we implement based off of what we hear from the market of users who are already implementing this. So if you want to see something and we hear that enough from enough people, we're willing to dedicate the resources to develop that and bring it into a being, right? So a lot of the features that I pointed out in quick access and task management and in the problem reports, those all come from direct customer feedback about what they want. So when you buy EAC apps, you're really buying, your own application team that is going to deliver this. So I'm not going to make any promises about doing everything or doing all things, but the fact is that this is a living product. It's going to be constantly updated, and you're buying the access and the feedback for those updates at all times. So that really closes us out. Again, EAC Apps is the easy way to access Windchill documentation. It is the ultimate in configurable views into your Windchill data, and it's meant to take the level of expertise you need to interact with Windchill data from a high level to a very low level and make it easy on everybody, right? If you can save the clicks, it doesn't matter how many hours you've spent in Windchill, you're still saving time and money. So those are EAC apps. I hope that this webinar was useful. Cassie, do we have any hands raised or any questions in the chat?
We don't have any questions in the queue right now, but again, if anyone does have any, please reach out to me. I will be sending a follow-up email this afternoon with a recording of this webinar and a couple of resources that you may find useful on our apps. So again, just want to remind you that that survey will appear once we shut down the webinar. And thanks again, everyone, for joining. Have a great rest of your day.